You want to be the best leader you can be, but it's hard to be the leader you're destined to become if you don't interview well. Here's how to nail your next interview.
Just lead.
Would you believe me if I said that being interviewed for a new job is second only to public speaking in terms of things that we fear? They're in the same kind of category, these fears. We're putting ourselves into vulnerable positions where we're letting people judge us and make a call on who we are as a human being. No wonder it's so scary. But never fear, because I am here. I'm going to specifically tell you what you need in order to shake the nerves before your next interview. And beyond that, I'm going to give you tips that you can use to enhance your performance in that next interview. Whenever I have employed someone, the interview ranks highest in terms of how I measure the performance of a person. Think about what it provides the interviewer. It gives insights into performance under stress, communication skills, problem-solving skills, and how you would react to certain situations. So don't underestimate the power of the interview. I've gone from passing on someone completely prior to the interview to actually then employing them because they perform so well in the interview, and vice versa. To perform well in an interview, you need to be able to shake the nerves, or at least get them under control. And here's a few techniques that you might want to employ. If you look forward and you think you might get nervous on the day of the interview, start to think about why. Actually verbalize why it is you're nervous about this interview. Put it into words, say it out into the world. As soon as you give voice to these reasons why you're nervous, they start to have less impact on your actions during the interview. Remember that they don't interview everyone that applies. You're in the box seat here. They actually want to hear what you have to say. They want you. So you're already in a powerful position. You just need to have that conversation and get yourself over the next hurdle. The more prepared you are for an interview, the less nervous you're going to be, because you're going to be ready when those questions start flying at you. So don't really expect your brain to do all the heavy lifting when you're in the interview. Spend some time beforehand developing potential questions and what your answers will be to those questions, so that when those questions come, you're ready with an answer. It's almost a nervous tick for most of us. Make a coffee, drink a coffee, take a break. But if you're gonna be nervous on the day, the caffeine is just gonna enhance those nerves and make everything worse. So maybe just cool it on the coffee on the day of the interview. It's the day of the interview, and all you gotta do is spin wheels and think about the interview until the interview at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That is a bad approach. Make sure you keep yourself busy, keep your mind active, do something else. If you've prepared correctly, you'll already know everything you need to know for the interview. So it's just about keeping yourself occupied so you don't spin wheels in your head and get yourself into a system of thinking about how things could go wrong and making yourself more and more nervous as the day goes on. I'm going to take a little break in the video here to say, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the like button, just to let the YouTube algorithm know exactly what you think of my content. Enough of that, let's get back to the video. What does it actually mean to prepare for an interview? Well, your first stop needs to be looking at the mission and vision statements of the company. And do they have charter values or something like that as well that you can look at? You need to take these statements and compare them to your own values, and write them down in your own words and make sure that you align with the company in terms of their vision and direction. Then come up with examples of your work life in how you actually do align to those values of the company. If you're in a leadership position or you're going for a leadership position, ensure that you develop examples of where you've shown leadership that has really driven these values at the core of the decisions that you've made. Further to this, you need to write down examples of leadership where things have gone well and when things have gone poorly. And don't just stop there. Think about the why of that situation. Why did it go well and why did it go poorly? What were the mechanisms? If you're able to articulate that in an interview, it shows the interviewer that you really think deeply about the decisions you make and that you reflect on the things that have gone well and the things that have gone poorly so that you can implement and make changes as you need to. It shows a deeper understanding and a desire to grow and learn, which the interviewer is going to really like. If you're applying for a technical position, think about the sort of technical questions that might get asked in the interview. If you've been in the industry for quite a while, you'll have plenty of examples to go to. This is a bad look. Oh, yeah, that sort of thing happens all the time. Like day to day, every day I'm faced with that. I can't really think of a specific example right now. Don't do that. Be prepared. Specific examples. When you're being interviewed, it is an opportunity to be the best version of yourself. Look your interviewer in the eyes when they're talking to you or when you're talking to them. And when they're talking, shut up and listen. Don't butt in and don't preempt any questions. Should go without saying, but don't swear. If you have to go to a different place when you reach the building in order to go to the interview, make sure you're opening the doors and holding them for your interviewer. And when you're in the interview and you've accepted a cup of coffee, make sure you go and clean that cup after you're done with it. Or if it's a paper cup, make sure you take it and throw it in the bin. Don't leave any rubbish behind. These little things, these little details, the interviewer is going to remember them. And it can take you from being on the fence to being over that fence and being employed for that role. When you're asked at the end of the interview if you've got any questions, don't and ah and go, oh, no, you've pretty much covered it. I don't really have anything. Because this is a point of absolute failure. It can ruin an otherwise good interview. When you're asked if you've got any questions, the interviewer really wants to see how you engage and how your interest levels are with the role, and really wants to start a conversation that's way less formal than the interview with you. And it doesn't have to be about work. I remember when I was applying for my graduate position with BHP, I was asked if I had any questions and I went right into, well, yeah, I do. Well, you guys have got that box at Subiaco, right? Like, is there any chance that I could use that to watch any West Coast games? Of course, that wasn't a real question. I got a chuckle from the interviewer and instantly got remembered because of it. I also experienced this time when I was interviewing a supervisor for a new role. And at the end, he asked how my culture of my team was and what I was doing to improve the culture of my team at the end of the interview. And I thought, bloody hell, like that's incredible. It blew my bloody socks off. If you're able to ask questions that relate to something that's come up in the interview as well, it shows a heightened level of engagement, and an interviewer is more likely to forward you on to the next level if they experience that with you. So when you're asked if you've got any questions, engage. Good luck. Everything I've told you here should mean that the next time you interview for a job, that job is yours. If you want to understand how interviews are developed and created more in depth, then you should click this link right here.